Hello everyone. Welcome back to Krishna's Amrit Arena. Today we are going to see second lesson in second English, Too Dear by Leo Tolstoy. So without further delay, let's move on to the summary. Monaco is a tiny little kingdom of 7,000 inhabitants, which lies on the shore of the Mediterranean Sea near the borders of France and Italy. Many a small country town has more inhabitants than this kingdom. In spite of this, Monaco has a kinglet, a palace, courtiers, ministers, a bishop, generals, and an army consisting of 60 men. The kingdom also levies taxes on its subjects, subjects in the sense the people, on the use of tobacco, wine, spirits, and also poll tax. Since this kingdom has very few subjects, the the revenue drawn from them was not sufficient. Therefore, the Prince of Monaco had no other option other than resorting to keep gaming houses for extra revenue. This is the reason why the Prince of Monaco resorts to gambling even though it is a dirty business. The Kingdom of Monaco had never encountered a crime like murder in its domains. So, when this happened, the king and the law keepers did not know how to handle this crisis. Though the judges sentenced the murderer to be beheaded, but this was not possible, as the Kingdom of Monaco had no means to execute the murderer and they had to rely on the neighboring country, France, to supply them a gulatin, which is a machine to cut the heads off. But this cost them 16,000 francs, which was a heavy sum. So the king decided to enquire the cost of mission from Italy, which is a brother monarch kingdom. Italy offered Galatan mission for a lesser sum of 12,000 francs. Even this was too much for the country's economy. Therefore, the king decided to alter the death sentence to one of the imprisonment for life, which was cheaper than the earlier death sentence. After 1 year, the king noticed that the life imprisonment cost came up to more than 600 francs, which was heavy, and at last the king resorted to pay a pension of 600 francs annually to the prisoner and ordered him to leave the domains of Monaco forever. The criminal was reluctant to go out of the prison for two reasons. One, because he was timely fed by the royal kitchen, and the second, he had no other place to go, as nobody would offer him a job as he was a murderer. Moreover, he had become lazy by not doing any work. Therefore, he decided to stay in the prison instead of running away. The criminal would leave Monaco and its domain forever, and for doing this, he would be paid 600 francs annually. This was the comment given by the king of Monaco. This somehow satisfied the criminal, and he readily agreed to do so. It was only a quarter of an hour by rail, and he emigrated and settled just across the frontier, where he bought a bit of land, started market gardening, and lived comfortably. He always went at the proper time to draw his pension, and having received it, he spent 2 to 3 francs at the gaming table, winning sometimes and losing sometimes, and then lived peaceably well. This is where we end the story. Now, I have prepared one mind map for you in a way that it will be useful for you before your examination. Okay, so you can just have a brush it once you're getting prepared for your examination. Okay, so you just look out here. Okay, yeah. So here Monaco. So this complete 7 points. It is nothing but the description of the small, tiny, little kingdom called Monaco. So why is it called as a small, tiny, little kingdom? This is a repeated one word, and just because there were only 7,000 inhabitants is nothing but the population or the people, those who are living over that particular kingdom. And here they have 60 soldiers in their army. So what are the taxes levied in this particular kingdom? Tax on tobacco, spirits, and old tax. This is another repeated question. And what is the special source of revenue of Monaco? So it is nothing but the gaming house. This is another repeated question. Okay. And the king of Monaco, he is the monopoly of the business called the gaming house, which is called as the dirty business. Okay. So the neighboring country, particularly the Germans, they have forbidden this gaming house. Why? Because people, once they have been addicted to this particular gaming house or playing the roulette game, they drown themselves or shoot themselves once they lose the game. So the other countries, they are concerned about the people, whereas the Monaco king, he is least bothered about the people. Rather, he was interested only in the improvisation of his kingdom. So, in this particular time, one unusual incident has taken place, that is nothing but the murder. Okay, so here again some two repeated questions in your board examination. That is nothing but what is the initial punishment given to the murderer, and what is the altered punishment? So the initial punishment, initial means first punishment. Okay, altered means changed punishment. So initial punishment is the death sentence, and altered punishment is the lifelong imprisonment. So why they have changed? What is the reason for the change of death sentence? So the king of Monaco, they don't have um, machine or the executioner in order to perform the act. Okay, so machine name is Gallatin in order to cut the head of the prisoner. Okay, so what happened? So just because they don't have the two things, either of the thing, either the machine or the execution, the person to executioner is nothing but the person in order to cut the head. Okay, so they seek the help from three persons. So the first, they approach the French government, so for the machine and the executioner. So the French government, they have charged 16,000 franc. So our king, he was not okay with that 16,000 franc. He felt that is very expensive. So next, they approach the Italian government, which is a brother monarch kingdom. So brother monarch is brother king. So they have estimated as 12,000 francs. So again, this was also not um, the okay amount for our Monaco king. So next they approached the soldiers. The soldiers also said that they have not been trained to do so. Do so in the sense they have not been trained to execute or to cut the head of the any person. Okay. So hence, the death sentence was altered to lifelong imprisonment. Okay, so finally, what happened? They are supposed to keep the prisoner or the murderer in the lockup. Okay, so they have locked up in the prison, and one guard was appointed. In a way that what was the work of the guard is nothing but he has to fetch food, bring food from the palace kitchen. He has to um, see him safe. That's it. Okay. So for one whole long year, this is another repeated one word. So please note it down. Where does the god fetch the food from? The god fetched the food from the palace kitchen. Okay. So what is the new item of expenditure? Okay. This is also repeated one word. This is nothing but the amount spent on the criminal. Okay. So how much was the amount? It was more than 600 francs. Okay. So how many long years the criminal was been inside the prison? It was like 1 year. Okay, in that 1 year, when they were calculating, it was about six more than 600 francs. So they wanted to cut short. So what they decided, again, the committee, the group, the ministers, everyone, they were being called, they have been summoned in a way to decide regarding this expensive thing. Okay, so what they decided, hence the god was dismissed. Dismissed in the sense he was removed. Okay, so they had one thought: once the god was not there, obviously the criminal would make his escapism. Okay, so why was the god dismissed? This is another repeated one word. It is like in order to reduce the expenditure. Okay, so even though the god was dismissed, the criminal was not ready to. Okay, so there was nobody to fetch the food from the palace kitchen. But then what happened? The criminal on his own, he himself went to the palace kitchen, got his own food, and he didn't blame anything at all. Now, they were all keeping quiet, and the minister, they inquired about the reason why the criminal was not making his escapism out of the prison. So he is giving some sort of three reason. Okay, so he's saying that the king and the kingdom together, they have ruined his name. Okay, number two, he's saying that even if he escapes from the prison and if he goes out, what would happen? Nobody would respect him, and nobody would trust him and provide him job. So he'll become a jobless person. He'll become a person who is about to roam over the street. He does not want to be like that. Okay, so he'll become a pauper. So he does not want to be like that. And also he said that he was quiet when there was change in punishment, means that alteration. Okay, of punishment, and also when the king dismissed the guard. Okay, so when everything was going on, he was quiet. But now, why the kingdom, okay, on their own, they are questioning him to move out of the prison? He is not ready because he feels the criminal, okay, or the murderer, he feels so very comfortable inside the prison because he is getting food. Okay, not want to work hard, and he is so very comfortable in a way that he has become so very sluggish and lazy then and after. So they are giving one chance for him to make his out in a way that he wants to go out of the prison. Okay, so they are laying one particular condition. On what condition you are supposed to make your escapism or out of the prison? So when they are asking, he said that he was ready to go out of the prison on one particular condition. It is nothing but by accepting 600 francs as an amount of pension. So when they give this condition, the criminal was ready to go out of the prison. This is another one word. Okay. So what was the condition? Laid by. On what condition does the criminal walk out of the prison? So he was ready to accept the pension of 600 francs. So what he did, he got one third of his annuity in advance. Okay. So out of the 600 francs, he got some one third advance. So he went to his, he immigrated and he went to his place, and he bought a bit of land. He started market gardening, and there again he was happy in playing that gaming houses, particularly that roulette game. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses, and he was happy with whatever he had. Okay, and then he lived happily thereafter. So this is the conclusion of this particular short story, Two Deer. It has been projected in a very humorous way. Okay, and Two Deer is nothing but, the title is nothing but too expensive. So this Two Deer, expensive, is the word that has been related to the criminal. Okay, the punishment that has been given to the criminal is very, very expensive. Okay, so generally if a person has committed something, he will be made to death, or he will be sentenced to death, or he will be given lifelong imprisonment. But here what happened, it is like He has been given some pension also, and he has got a bit of land. He has started his own business and he's living happily. But the thing is, nobody will take it for granted. It is just a small story and it is very expensive with regard to the title. Okay, thank you so much. Catch you all in the next video.